Today I'm going to be talking about the story of David. God is so awesome. He gave me this message in church today. And I'm going to try to break down a couple of things because this message, is so important on different levels. It has a whole bunch of different levels that I want to talk about. But today's sermon is going to be called In the Right Place. And the reason why I say in the right place is because I'm going to start off with how us being in the right place is where you get your blessings, is where you get, where you find your destiny. And sometimes when we're not in place, you wind up blowing what God has for you because you're not in the right place. And it's very important to be in the right place. And yet and still we don't think that it is, but it is. So today's message is in the right place, or being in place, put it that way. Being in place is going to be the message. And I want to start off with, I'm going to start off with David, and I'm going to start off with Adam and Eve. And the reason why this message is called being in place. When David went out to, fight his enemy, and he had the 600 men with him, and they went to fight the enemy. They came back, and the enemy had stole all his gold and silver, kidnapped his family and everybody, and all his men's, the people that 600 men killed their captured their family, took all their possessions and everything. And the same people, the same 600 men that was with David, now also was about to turn on David and want to kill David because of what, of what they lost. They lost all their stuff, and they want to kill David. Isn't that something that the same people that went with you in battle, the same people, the ride or die people that have been with you, all of a sudden now want to turn their back on you because they lost everything. And I'm going to break that down too, because that goes on with today's life. But see, the reason why David lost everything is because he wasn't in the right place. See, sometimes you will go pursue something and not be in the right place, and you can lose the things that you have, your possessions, your fortune, your wealth, your health, a lot of things that you can lose because you're not in the right place. And I'm going to go also back to Adam and Eve. And I'm going to talk about being in the right place because also you got to watch the company that you keep when it comes to being in the right place. Because, see, Adam and Eve, God gave them everything. And he told them, isn't it amazing how God can give you everything that you want and everything that you need, and yet still you're not satisfied, and you always think there's something more that you're missing out on, but God knows what you need. He gives you what you want, but you're going after things and whatnot that God don't want you to have, or things that you don't need because God knows is not good for you. And that's what I'm going to say with Adam and Eve. See, because Eve listened to a snake, a low down, rotten, dirty snake, Satan, okay, that sit up here and put in her mind, okay, that God didn't give them certain things and there was more to get. And then she sold that bill of goods to Adam, and Adam should have knew better because he got this directly from God on everything that he wanted, everything that he needed. And yet and still he allowed Eve to sit up here and put in his mind, okay, that there was something more, that there was something better, that they would know more, they acknowledge more. And Satan sit up here, once again, low down, rotten, dirty snake, okay? How many friends, how many people we know that's the same way, okay? That'll sit up here, and because God has given you, bless you with things already, and that person might be jealous, and that person could call themselves a friend, it could call themselves associate, it could call somebody that you know, and we see it all the time, how people get jealous on what you have, okay? And they will sit up here and become like that low down, rotten, dirty snake, like Satan, okay, and convince you that what you have is not enough. What you have, God has more for you, or God is hiding something from you. And if you go this path and whatnot, you can get more because God is keeping something from you. And how many of us have done that? How many of us still do that? And we do it all the time. Okay. And yet and still we call these people our friends. We call these people our associates. We call these people our ride or die people. And yet and still they don't have your back because they're jealous on what you have. How many times have we seen so-called friends that's jealous of what we have? And you know what? I've seen it when it comes to relationships, when it comes to men and women. How many times have you seen a good marriage or a good relationship with somebody got, and all of a sudden that person, and I'm going to touch on a story that I seen, that person will sit up here and see that couple that's happily and everything else and married and whatnot, and they doing good. And that so-called friend, so-called ride or die partner, okay, will sit up here and say, you know what? Your mate is not doing this, and they need to do that, and they need to do this and whatnot because, you're not getting the full benefits. They not doing this right. They not doing that right. And they put in your head that your relationship is all messed up. Now, isn't it so funny and crazy that your relationship is working real good? Everything is going good. This is why you got to be careful about who you let in your realm when it comes to your relationships. That go with family and friends. But isn't it funny how we allow our family and friends to get involved with our relationships and put something in your head that's working good, and all of a sudden to change that whole situation around? I seen a picture the other day. I love looking at my African pictures and whatnot, and because a lot of them are Bible verse, and I was looking at one, and there's two men. And the gentleman had a beautiful wife. They had a beautiful relationship. Everything was going good. They had no issues going on. And the wife came out, and he asked the wife, can she make something to eat? And she said, well, the food is in there, whatnot, go make it and whatnot, and everything was fine because that's how they operated. They had their own system. That's how they operated. Okay. Well, the friend sit up here and said, well, how do you allow your woman to sit up here and disrespect you like that in front of your friend, and she's not doing her woman duties? She told you to go sit up here and do it when she's the wife. Okay. Now here you got somebody putting things in there, supposed to be a friend, that's putting things into this person's mind, and the relationship is already working out good. But because this friend sits up here and starts saying things and putting things in your head, now you're going to start listening to the so-called friend, snake in the grass, okay, person that's jealous over what you have. Well, come to find out, the same man was telling his friend when his wife don't to respect him and do this and do that, or she talks back to him and whatnot, what the case may be, he's going to tell her to beat him. Isn't that something? To beat her. He's going to tell his friend to beat her. Every time she talk back, every time she says something, to beat her. Now, this is kind of crazy, but it's true. The problem is a lot of this stuff goes on in real life. Okay. Make a long story short, the same friend that was telling his friend to beat his wife for not paying attention, for not doing the things that he thought that she should be doing, goes home to his wife, who's the boss of his house. He's the man. She's the boss of his house. She's beating on him. She's got him mopping and cleaning and telling him what to do. But this is the same man that won't stand up to his wife, but going to tell his friend to beat his wife because he's got a beautiful relationship and everything is going good. See, misery loves company. So this is what I said, so you got a guy whose relationship with his wife is beautiful. Everything is working out good. He listens to his friend, and he starts doing things to his wife because his friend said he's being disrespected by his wife. So he starts hitting on her, and he starts, and cursing at her and telling her and talking down to her that he's never did before. Okay. The bad thing is he wound up losing his wife because of this. Okay, because of what his friend said. He lost a perfect relationship that was working out for him and his wife because he listened to somebody that was jealous and envious over what he was saying. Okay. And he lost his wife. At the same time, the same one that was given this information is the same one going home, and his wife is doing the same thing to him that he told his friend to do to his wife. Isn't that crazy? But you know what? We see it every day. We got relationships that's going good, and you get a friend or somebody come in there and start putting things in your ear and start telling you don't do this and don't do that. And that goes for men and women. I've seen it with both. And all of a sudden you wind up losing that person that was your mate, that was your life, that was your ride or die partner and whatnot, because you listen to so-called friends. That's why I said you got to be careful who's in your realm, and you got to be careful on who you listen to. I got some more stuff that I want to talk about. There's probably going to be a 3-part series because it's so important that I try to get the stuff that God gave me out. So I'm going to probably make this a 3-part series on this. But I'm going to go on to the next part on this because this is so important that we need to hear these words and that we need to understand, God is trying to teach us something. God is trying to show us something. So I'm going to go on to part 2 of this.